The animator that did this sequence needs a raise. Like, straight up. Phenomenal work. The absolute fluid motion of the movement, accompanied with the voice acting work. I honestly, when I first saw this, I thought this was like rotoscoping or something. Like, that's exactly what it looks like. But upon diving into this segment, it's not. It's fully animated. This is not rotoscoped. And it's actually just insane. And this is just one moment of the episode that really just stands out. There is multiple moments I can pick out from this episode that just blow my mind. And this once again just proves the absolute talent that is working on JJK. Like, seriously, just this scene really stuns me. Because at first glance, if you're just looking at this casually, like you're just, you're watching it and not thinking too hard about it, it looks standard. It looks like, oh, just the character's moving, he's doing a speech, etc. But there is so much at work with this segment that really just flies under the radar, and I think a lot of people may not appreciate. Like, here, I'm just gonna back up a few seconds. Like, just look at the movement, okay? Every little bit of the movement has to be drawn, and the way you just see the perfect flow of animation, the movement of the hands to, putting his hand on his face, everything, it is so fluid that I cannot believe that this isn't rotoscoped. Like, seriously, just look at the way the hand movements are, and this is incredibly difficult when it comes to animation. Like, anyone that knows art and stuff, moving of hands is difficult, and just, like, look at this. It is absolute insanity the way this looks here, and then just like this, like, I'm legit stunned. Like, I know JJK's had some great art and animation. Like, the last episode with Gojo and all that, with, him basically becoming like a deity or, feeling high, that was beautiful. And I already talked about that in length with a previous, video last week. But the point of the matter is that, like, this is just one sequence, and it really is hyping up the events to come, because obviously, like, at the end of this episode, like, the final frames of this episode, we get, the characters. All the characters, are returning once again, and all that, and it's really nice to see our main trio here, and it's been so long. Like, I mean, this is season 2, we're, like, 5 episodes or so deep within this season, and it's like, we've been all, wanting to see our characters again, and getting to see them animated once again, and very soon at that, is pretty exciting. Now, as an FYI for anyone that is unaware, or if you didn't watch the video yesterday, or you didn't know the news, etc., but JJK is going to be basically on break for the next 3 weeks. Like, the next episode is a recap of the JJK Zero movie, and then it's going to be a recap of, the first season, and then it's going to have no episode on the 3rd week, and then we'll be back for the next arc. So, basically, there's not going to be really any new content for Jujutsu Kaisen for the next 3 weeks. But even then, it is nice, because this has obviously been planned already. This was planned for a while now. But it is nice that, we are going to be getting into, fundamentally, one of the most hyped up and anticipated arcs of JJK since, honestly, it came out. Like, everybody's excited for it, so I can't wait. But okay, let's back up here, and let's just talk about certain segments of this episode. One thing that I really loved about this episode is, like, segments like this. Like, I love this hallway scene. It's very simple. It's a very simple sequence, but I love the symbolic nature of it, with the blood and all that, with the hallway and what is being talked about from, Suguru. I love it. And then even this, like, oh my goodness, like, I know I'm talking a lot about the art and animation, but it really just floored me. It really blew me away, because it's like the content, the story of JJK is good. Like, it's everybody that has watched this series to this point or has read the manga knows how good the story is. The story's great. Like, the characters are great, the world building is great, the power system's great. It is legitimately a great series. And just the way that the animators at Studio MAPPA and anyone else that's working on freelancers, etc., come in and do movements like this and these little sequences really just go to show why this series has become just so incredibly popular over these past few years. Like I said, this this scene. It's very simple, it's straight to the point, but the movement of the hands to the way it's like a first-person perspective, it's a nice little moment to kind of get intimate with this character that is reading this pamphlet, reading the memo of what's going on and all that. It's legitimately a fascinating little segment because it basically reveals what's going on with Suguru and how, basically he is being sentenced to death after what he caused at the village. It's legitimately just great. Like, there's so many great moments here. Like, oh my goodness, like the fire effect here and all that. Just, yeah, I'm going to stop talking about the art and animation right there, but all I'm saying is that fundamentally, I would say this is probably the best looking episode so far of Season 2, and that's difficult, because, like, there's already been some gorgeous moments, but this seriously is a gorgeous episode. I really, really hope I don't see people complaining, like, oh my goodness, like, I know it's gonna happen. I'm very aware it's gonna happen. People are going to complain about this episode in some way because maybe it's different from the manga or whatever. I know it's gonna happen. And I just, like, I don't know how anyone, unless you're trolling, can legitimately look at this episode and say it's a bad episode, or the anime didn't elevate the original source to a whole new level without trolling. Like, if you legitimately say it didn't, you're trolling. That's legitimately my thought process, because the way the VAs deliver these lines, like, Suguru's VA, oh my goodness, like, okay, the VA work is legitimately insane. It's insanity. Like, it is easily, like, the next best thing. Like, I mean, if I'm not counting the story and all that, and I'm just talking about, like, what the anime presents, the voice acting truly nails all these characters, and Suguru's VA really nails the dark, grim tone of him and what he's doing within this moment, his determination and all that. And I also really, really love the segment with, like, Gojo kind of, figuring out what he needs to do with, Suguru, like, should he chase him, should he kill him, and all that. Like, this is a really great animation sequence as well, along with the VA work, how he's talking about what he needs to do, and, Gojo's just trying to figure out what's going on, why are you doing this, and all that. It's a very personal and intimate moment, and I love, like, the background art and stuff. It's just, oh my goodness, the VAs really deliver this line. But, yeah, seriously, incredible episode of JJK. I was blown away when I sat down and watched this episode. I was like, man, this is all around just incredible. Like, this is probably the best episode of Season 2 so far. I know that's going to change when, the next arc starts to get animated. Easily this episode is going to get just overshadowed. But at least for now, I would say this is a very strong conclusion for this arc of JJK before we get into the next stuff of the story. And it's just, wow. Grade A quality. Grade A quality. You'll love to see it. And as a JJK fan, I am happy with this. I am very, very happy, as you can see. I am very happy. But okay, I'm going to leave it at that. I want to talk about my overall thoughts. Just get my, first impressions of the episode out. Because just like, man, blew me away. But be safe, stay healthy, Chibi out.